The wait is finally over, and the federal government of Nigeria has dropped a bombshell that is currently shaking the very foundations of the country's security and financial sectors. Because just as the headline screams, the minister has officially published the names of terrorist financiers and sponsors who have been hiding in the shadows while fueling insecurity across the nation. For years, Nigerians have been asking the same burning question: who is funding the bandits? Who is sending money to the insurgents? And who is behind the sophisticated weaponry that terrorizes innocent citizens? And today, we seem to have moved from mere threats and promises to concrete action with the release of a comprehensive list that has left many prominent figures and organizations with absolutely no hiding place. This development is massive because it is not just a list of unknown foot soldiers or random criminals, but it includes individuals and entities involved in high-level financial transactions, including bureau de change operators and business owners who have allegedly been funneling massive amounts of cash to destabilize the country. The government has made it clear that the era of treating these sponsors with kid gloves is over, and the message "no hiding place" is not just a slogan, but a directive to security agencies to freeze assets, seize properties, and ensure that every single dime traced to these individuals is recovered and that they face the full wrath of the law. What makes this story even more captivating is the timing and the pressure that led to this reveal. Because if you recall, towards the end of 2025, there was intense speculation and a series of announcements from the presidency and the Office of the National Security Advisor hinting that a major exposure was coming. The government had been under immense pressure from both the Nigerian public and the international community, especially organizations like the Financial Action Task Force, to clean up its financial system and prove that it was serious about cutting off the lifeline of terrorism. Now, in January 2026, they have pulled the trigger on that promise, and the details are quite shocking because the published list reportedly contains names of persons who have been operating under the guise of legitimate businesses, using complex networks to move funds across borders and within the country to support violent activities. The Minister of Information, alongside key security chiefs, emphasized that this publication is just the first step in a wider crackdown, and they have warned that any bank, financial institution, or designated non-financial business found to be aiding or shielding these individuals will face severe sanctions, including the revocation of their operating licenses. This is a direct warning to the banking sector to wake up and scrutinize their systems, because the government is effectively saying that ignorance is no longer an excuse and that the money trail has been fully uncovered. We are seeing a scenario where the devastating impact of insecurity is finally being linked to the specific wallet and bank accounts that make it possible. And for the average Nigerian who has lived in fear of kidnapping and banditry, this news brings a mix of relief and high expectation. The relief comes from knowing that the government is finally naming and shaming the big fish rather than just chasing the small criminals in the bush. But the expectation is even higher because Nigerians want to see these names translating to convictions and prison sentences, not just media headlines. The release of these names is also expected to have a ripple effect on the economy, particularly in the foreign exchange market, as the crackdown on the identified bureau de change operators could disrupt the illicit flow of cash that has often been blamed for the volatility of the naira. It is a bold move that signals the administration is ready to step on powerful tools to restore sanity to the system, and you can sense the tension in the air as people scramble to check the list to see if anyone they know or do business with has been implicated in this national scandal. This is the kind of decisive action that changes the narrative of the war on terror, because for too long, the focus has been solely on kinetic military operations, dropping bombs and deploying troops, while the financial pipeline remained open, allowing these groups to regroup and rearm no matter how hard they were hit. By going after the financiers, the government is striking at the root of the problem, effectively starving these criminal networks of the resources they need to buy food, fuel, vehicles, and ammunition. It is a strategy that security experts have been advocating for years, and seeing it come to light in such a public manner in 2026 suggests a shift in political will that could be the game changer Nigeria has been waiting for. The authorities have also stated that this list is dynamic, meaning more names will be added as investigations continue. So those who think they have escaped this first wave of exposure should not sleep with two eyes closed, because the Financial Intelligence Unit are working round the clock to uncover more links. If you're enjoying this breakdown of the breaking news and want to stay updated on how this story unfolds, please take a second right now to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, because we will be following every single update on this case, from the arrests to the court cases, ensuring you don't miss any part of this developing story. It's really important you subscribe so you get the notifications immediately when we drop the next video on this topic. Moving deeper into the implications of this announcement, we have to talk about the international dimension, because this move is also about Nigeria's standing in the global community. Being on the grey list of financial watchdogs has hurt Nigeria's ability to attract foreign investment, as investors are wary of putting their money in a system that is vulnerable to money laundering and terrorism financing. By publishing these names and taking visible action to freeze their assets, the Nigerian government is sending a strong signal to the world that it is safe to do business here and that the financial system is being purged of bad actors. This could potentially boost investor confidence and help stabilize the economy in the long run, provided that the government follows through with rigorous prosecutions. The slogan, "No hiding place," also extends to those who might have fled the country, as the government has indicated it will be working with Interpol and other international agencies to track down and extradite any listed sponsor who tries to seek refuge abroad. The message is clear: you cannot destroy Nigeria with your money and then run away to enjoy that money in peace in another country. The public reaction has been explosive, with social media buzzing with discussions, arguments, and demands for accountability. Many people are calling for the immediate arrest of everyone on that list, arguing that naming them is not enough if they are still walking freely on the streets. There's also a demand for transparency regarding the political affiliations of these individuals, with citizens asking if there are any politically exposed persons hiding behind the business names listed. This is where the story gets even more interesting, because if the investigation trails lead to the doorsteps of politicians or government officials, it will test the administration's resolve to truly fight corruption without fear or favor. The government has assured the public that there are no sacred cows and that anyone found culpable, regardless of their status or position in society, will face the music. This promise is what everyone is holding on to, and the coming weeks will determine if this is a genuine turning point or just another political maneuver. You also have to consider the operational impact on the terrorists themselves. When their sponsors are named and their accounts are frozen, the immediate effect is a cash crunch in their camps. This could lead to a desperate situation for the insurgents, potentially causing internal fighting, surrender, or unfortunately a temporary spike in desperate attacks to loot resources. Security agencies have therefore been placed on high alert to counter any reactionary violence that might stem from this financial squeeze. It is a high-stakes chess game, where the government has made a checkmate move against the funding, but the board is still dangerous. The coordination between the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, the Economic and Crimes Commission, and the Department of State Services is critical at this stage to ensure that the assets are secured before they can be moved or hidden. We are talking about billions of naira that have been circulating in this dark economy, and seizing these funds could actually provide resources that can be redirected into victim support funds or security infrastructure. As we watch this unfold, the question on everyone's lips is, what happens next? Will we see a televised trial? Will we see the confiscation of mansions and luxury cars belonging to these financiers? The government has promised transparency, and the minister's declaration that there is no hiding place suggests that we are about to witness a series of high-profile legal battles. This is a story of accountability, of a nation finally saying enough is enough to the people who profit from its pain. It is a developing situation that touches on every aspect of Nigerian life, from the safety of the roads to the value of the currency in your pocket. The days of anonymous sponsors seem to be coming to an end, and the spotlight is now shining bright on the dark corners of terrorism financing.